Welcome, everyone, to Real Estate on the Up, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the real estate world in Orlando. I'm your host, Kyle Madorin, and on this show, we're all about pulling back the curtain with the unfiltered truth about real estate. We're not just here to sell houses. We're here to provide concierge-style service because everyone loves being treated like a VIP. This podcast is your go-to resource for transparency, integrity, and the knowledge you need to make smarter real estate decisions. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a first-time homebuyer, we've got you covered. So buckle up and get ready to move up in the world of real estate. It's time for Real Estate on the Up. Welcome to Real Estate on the Up, the podcast where we dive into the trends, insights, and stories shaping the real estate market today. This is Kyle Madorin, and I'm thrilled to have you with us. Today, we have an incredible guest who truly embodies what it means to be at the top of the real estate game. With nearly 2 decades of experience under her belt, Linda Jokbengboon is a force to be reckoned with in the Central Florida market. Known for outstanding customer service, innovative marketing techniques, and exceptional negotiation skills, Linda has built a reputation that has clients coming back again and referring her to friends and family. Linda's expertise spans a wide range of clients, from first-time homebuyers to Disney Airbnb investors, and even sports and entertainment figures. Her ability to anticipate client needs and provide candid advice has earned her a spot among Orlando's top 20 under 40 agents, and she was ranked in the top 1% out of 24,000 agents in Central Florida last year, which is a true testament to her dedication and her skill. We're honored to have Linda with us today to share her journey, her insights, and what's next for the Central Florida real estate market. So without further ado, let's welcome Linda Jokbengboon to Real Estate on the Up.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
With my last name pronunciation. I just usually go by Linda J, but hey, if you want to say the whole thing, you're good to go.
My name gets mangled all the time as well. And so I sympathize, and I didn't want to mess it up. So I'm glad I got it right.
I appreciate the effort.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'd love to learn a little bit about your background so you can share with the listeners as well how you got into real estate, because you actually started quite young compared to many agents in the industry.
I knew in college that I wanted to do something that, even though I was really good at doing all the paperwork side of things, I didn't want to be stuck behind a desk on a 9 to 5. And I knew I wanted to do something that would allow for me to make a lot of money. So summer going into my senior year of college, I went to school at UF, at University of Florida. Summer going into my senior year, I interned with a national builder called Pulte Homes. Dabbled my feet in the real estate market that summer, and it was like one of the hottest real estate summers ever. I mean, I was spinning circles, like giving tours for my mentor, etc. So at the end of that summer, they offered me a position to come back upon graduation, and that's the rest is history. But when I did come back, the market had done a total 180. So I've lived through it all, it feels like.
Yeah, you've been through a lot of changes, both in terms of the market and what we're facing in economic conditions, and also with technology and trends. There's been so many things that have changed over time. But let's go back to your beginning. You started in new construction. So what is the difference between being a new construction sales representative versus a real estate agent that hangs their license with another brokerage?
So, I mean, the superficial differences, right? You work for a builder. You technically don't have to get your sales license. Pulte paid for me to go to school and get my real estate license. So that was great. But you really work for a company, right? You have a boss, it's very corporate versus going to real estate school and then, passing your state exam and then signing up with Remax overnight. You now work for yourself. I love the fact that I started out with a builder and started out kind of corporate because it set a really good foundation for me. They taught us all the things that you're supposed to do, not just with proper protocols and processes, but also they taught you the art of customer service. And I think that when agents get thrown into the real estate market, they miss that part of it. They're chasing the commission check. So I think that really helped my foundation.
I think that's absolutely true. That's a great point. And by getting that training, I really think that that training element is one of the things that there's not enough emphasis placed on with new agents. And I've discussed on the show before that I think that it is either too easy to get licensed or it's too easy to just be out on your own. Because like you said, you're an independent contractor. You're just thrown out there as soon as you hang your license. And if you're with a brokerage that doesn't put a lot of stock in that training and mentoring and preparation, it's very easy to take missteps and turn in the wrong direction.
The other part to that is, even if the company offers it, the broker offers the training, you still have to go and do it. You still have to want to sharpen the tools in your toolbox. And I think
Right.
that's really what separates people who make it and who don't make it in this industry.
Yeah, that drive, that you need that drive, because you don't have someone standing over your shoulder saying,
Right.
do this, you have
Yep.
to get this done. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. So with that in mind, we have agents who listen to the show who might be new and just starting out in the business, trying to become successful. What is some advice you have for those agents of ways that they can begin lubricating the wheels, getting things moving and generating business?
Three things. I think a lot of patience, right? You have to remember that you're planting the seeds today, and it might look like they're not growing, but you're cultivating your garden right now. So it doesn't happen overnight, but eventually, if you do all the things you're supposed to do to water your garden, the business should be there, right? I think the second thing is take the time to learn your craft. Sharpen the tools in your toolbox, do the trainings, be a sponge, go shadow like a top producer, go see what it is that they do in their day to day, because real estate, it feels like nothing is happening, but then everything is happening the minute you blink, right? So I think that you've got to just take the time to shadow someone. And I think for me, I've been in the industry for so long that I now want to give back. So if anybody is willing to put in the effort to learn and shadow me, I'm more than willing to share. So you have to do that. And then the third thing is to, in my opinion, I think you really need to pay your dues, right? I think sometimes agents want the guidance, and let's just say they join a team platform, and they're getting the guidance and mentorship from their team lead. But in turn, that team lead takes a pretty large split. You do a deal or two, and then all of a sudden you think you can do it on your own. I think in the beginning, you really need to take the time to pay those dues. Don't think about what that paycheck is right there. Think about the intangibles that you're not seeing that's being provided from that team lead or whoever's mentoring you.
Absolutely. Those are three great points. And I think going back to what you said before as well, learning your craft and specifically the art of customer service that you talked about, that's so very important, especially in today's world where agents are going to be more pressed than ever before to show their value of
Yes.
why it's important to work with a licensed professional. And you can go online and you can see properties on dozens of websites. You can search Google for things that you want to learn about, but it's having that professional by your side who cares about you, who is going to put your needs first and has the experience to figure out when bumps, arise, because in every transaction there's going to be some sort of challenge. How do you get by that smoothly and make it a seamless transaction and achieve those goals successfully?
I think it helps that I've been in this industry for so long. I've been doing it for so long. So I've seen all these different scenarios. But I think even for somebody who's starting out that's new or who hasn't encompassed or hasn't encountered all the different things that could go wrong in a transaction, I think at the end of the day, you really need to be level headed and to handle the issues as they come, because you don't know they're coming yet if you don't have the experience to do so, right? But your goal is to be kind of the calm voice in the transaction to keep your clients calm so that you take on all the stress and the ups and downs of the transaction so that they don't, right? Or otherwise they do this themselves. And sometimes you see, when you're on the other side of the transaction, you see agents getting worked up, and it's like, hey dude, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. Like, let's work together in the best interest of our clients. But you can get so much further working together than you do working against each other.
Certainly.
And that takes a lot.
You're all working towards the same goal in the
Yeah,
end.
we
We
all
all
want
want
to get
the
paid.
closing. Yeah. The
you know?
buyers and seller both want the property to close successfully, and it's our job to help facilitate that. And what you were saying is true about being level-headed. Also, I think having the confidence in yourself to know when you don't know something or when you don't have as much knowledge as you need to solve that situation, of knowing to turn to someone else to get the guidance and get the help to make sure you're doing the best job you can for your customer. I think that takes a little bit of humility sometimes.
Yes.
And maybe that comes with time as well.
Yeah. I when I first started, so I worked for the builder for 3 years and then came to Orlando to work. I worked with Remax, or started with Remax. And when I signed up with the brokerage, I told the broker, I said, hey, put me in the room with the heavy hitters. Like, I want to be able to sit and listen. I want to hear how they negotiate. I want to hear how they handle different scenarios. I remember they sat me in a room. It was a big picture window overlooking the big lake downtown called Lake Eola. It's like a big landmark. And they stuck me on the desk facing the wall opposite of the big lake view. But I didn't care, because in the same cubby with as us were three other heavy hitters. And I learned so much during that time frame. So I was very thankful for that.
Yeah, surrounding yourself with the right people is very important. And keeping absorbing, like you said, a
Yes.
sponge before. I think that's very true. Absorbing what's around you, and when you're a new agent, keeping your ears open and
Yes.
attending everything you can. If it's an inspection for your customer, go and listen to what the inspector is saying, absorb it, so that you then, when you're showing homes, can take some of that knowledge and apply it. There's so much to learn. There's
Yes.
so much to
Learn,
learn.
please, just learn.
Absolutely. So, continuing to talk about agents for a moment before we switch gears, I know that one of the challenges that agents have in this business, especially the newer agents, is establishing a work-life balance, because it's very hard to switch off, because real estate's not a 9 to 5 type job typically. What advice do you have for agents who are struggling to allocate time to themselves, their family, and figure out how to balance that career versus their own personal lives?
It's tough because I can't say that I'm the greatest at work-life balance.
I struggle with it too, honestly. It's yeah,
When the phone rings, every time the phone rings, most of the time it's money, right? It's a deal. It's a potential lead, unless you're putting out fires. But I think especially for newer agents, every phone call counts. And so it makes it so that you don't want to miss out on opportunities. And I would say in the beginning, I just didn't have a balance. Now I've learned that I'm not one of those agents where, hey, if your email comes in after 5 o'clock, I'm not responding till the next day. I don't do that. But I do think that there's a tier of level of importance of things that I need to get done during the day. And then when I get home, I really need to like decompress. I'm still working at home sometimes, but I do think that, especially if you have like a significant other or kids, you really have to balance, because you'll get burnt out. There's no way
yeah,
your body will let you keep going at 100 miles an hour all
yeah.
day, every day.
Burnout is real. I mean,
Yeah.
it happens. Yeah.
Even the
Yeah.
most successful top producers, sometimes you just see them phase out of the business because they're burnt.
Right.
So work
Yep.
on leaning on other people, asking for help. I think that for me, that is where I've started to let go a little bit, leaning on my team and letting them take responsibility. Like, they're grown adults, they can handle it. I don't have to be a control freak. So
Yeah. Leverage. That's right. I think you're right. I think leveraging for time reasons is very important. And if you're lucky enough to have a team, that's great. Or finding other professionals you can leverage for some of that as well. I know there's a lot of title companies out there of reps who are willing to help with things, lenders who have the ability to take some things off your plate possibly. And so I think that's a great point, is finding good people, right? Surrounding yourself with the right team.
yep, agreed.
Absolutely. So let's talk now more about customers, buyers, sellers, investors. I know you have a lot of experience working in the investment portion of the business, especially with short-term investment, short-term rentals in the Disney area. So that market has changed significantly. You've seen things really shift one way or another, that pendulum swinging. What are you seeing right now happening in the investment marketplace for any investors we have listening?
So, if we're talking specifically about short-term rental, I've definitely, for in the Orlando market, I've seen a huge shift. I think what we experienced was the rise and fall of the Airbnb train that was coupled with like COVID coming and going. And a lot of different cities across the nation became Airbnb little hotspots. And then it was the train for the investors jumping on these opportunities to buy these properties to Airbnb out. And then when Airbnb started getting negative publicity, where the vacationers or the renters were tired of having to do the chore list of things that were at checkout, like taking out the trash, doing the laundry, and things like that, they started catching a lot of negative press from that. And then that resulted in investors trying to offload these properties because they weren't able to carry the costs anymore because the rentals started slowing down. Have been seeing that happen across the nation, and I've been seeing that happen in the Orlando market. What I do want to say is that the very big difference between the Orlando market and everywhere else is we have always had Disney, and we've always had this short-term rental market that has been very lucrative and very successful. Is it as lucrative as the last 2 or 3 years? No, but still lucrative nonetheless. If you are doing all the, I like just shut off, or if you're doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing to make a successful Airbnb business in Orlando. I think the people that are exiting the market now were the ones that got on the bandwagon because it was the next hot investment thing to do.
Right.
And if you're a savvy investor, they always say, buy when everybody is selling and sell when everybody is buying. And right now, for the Airbnb market, I think it's a great time to buy. You've got investors that are scared, that are exiting, that you're able to take advantage of and get really good values out of these purchases.
Yeah, the prices have definitely come down from their peak, which was like 2022, I think, is when
Yeah.
things really peaked. Yeah, so it is a good time to get in and get a good deal. One of the things that I think is also on the horizon that I've heard some people talk about, which could give a boost to that segment, is the new Universal Park that's opening next year.
Yeah, I think we're very lucky to live, or I'm very lucky to live where people vacation, right? There's so many different parts of outside of Orlando. I mean, in Orlando, outside of Disney World and Universal, and it's beautiful. But the perk is if you have a young child or even grown adults that are Disney fanatics, the park is right there for either one. And with the opening of the new park, and I think Disney just announced that I think they just got approved. They're opening another big park somewhere. I don't know all the plans yet.
Big expansions, yeah.
Yes,
big
huge expansions for both companies. So I think lots of opportunities. That part is always going to be there. You just have to be able to be financially sound enough to ride through the little hump we're getting through right now.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now, looking more at the residential market, that's not the investment side. We've seen vast changes over the last 2 years. Again, since that COVID peak ended, we saw interest rates shoot up and we saw demand diminish because of that. And now we're starting to see rates come down again. Are you beginning to see changes in the marketplace occur from a buyer perspective? Are more people getting into the market right now?
Say you can feel the buzz. I think even specifically in the last 2 or 3 weeks, right? There's been an uptick in new mortgage applications. And I think there were so many people just riding the fence, just waiting to see what happened. And that 7.5%, 8% at one point was a hard pill to swallow. But now we're back in the 6.5%, 6.25. One of my clients got quoted 5.87
wow.
the other 2 days ago. So that's music to buyers' ears. And I think both buyers and sellers are getting excited again. So yeah, we're starting to feel the shift a little bit.
Good. No, I'm glad you're seeing that. And I think that there needed to be some reassurance for some sellers who were sort of feeling discouraged.
Yeah.
I know there's certain segments, areas that were very hot previously, stagnated. Not much was happening. So
it was very weird for a moment there too. Even if you were priced well and the home showed well, sometimes we weren't getting any showings for a week, 10 days at a time. So days on market were extended for sure. And it was a little nerve-wracking, but it's at that point where you've got to now really pull out all your stops. And it's not just about sticking that listing in the MLS and sticking a for sale sign in the yard. You really actually have to provide a service to your sellers.
Yeah, this is the time when those sales skills and strategies come into effect. And you're right. It's not just about the placing the sign, putting it in MLS, praying someone comes along. It takes some additional skill. And I think that, like you were saying, valuation, even if you have it priced right, sometimes it's challenging. But if you have it priced wrong, it's exceptional.
Even worse. Yeah.
So making sure that you work with a professional who really understands valuation and how to price strategically is paramount right now. For those sellers who are out there and they're wondering what the best approach is, how they should go about finding the right agent, what are some questions they should ask agents when they're interviewing them to find out who the best choice would be for their needs?
I think I would personally ask, besides you sticking a sign in my yard and putting the property on MLS, what are you going to do that's going to separate, that's going to help me sell this house quickly, right? For me, I'm going to answer each and every time negotiating. I like get high from negotiations. Like I believe I'm good at it. And oftentimes that's a win for the sellers. So there's that. I think they should ask, what are you doing that's out of the box? Are you making calls? Are you networking? Are you using your sphere? Are you up to date with all the technology and things, the platforms that will get this listing out there? Are you willing to do open houses? And do you do them yourselves? And then I would say, what is your take on offering a buyer's agent commission and see what the agent says? To me, I still think that it's very important to still offer that compensation, but work to the advantage of, work on behalf of your seller, right? To make sure that you're giving as much exposure as possible and still giving them the best deal.
Right. In the end, much of real estate is a numbers game, and exposure is key. The more buyers you can attract, the better your chances of selling quickly and for top dollar. And I think that you're absolutely correct. I think that although there's obviously changes to how commission is structured and who pays for what, I think that seeing that as an extension of the marketing of the property, as it always has been, I think is important, and that probably won't change for some time. So I think
Well,
that's
you've got some brokerages and some sellers that are seeing the headlines, right? And the
right.
taglines but really, don't you want to present your property in the best light where it's going to attract the most amount of not only agents, but buyers to mobilize and get out there to see your property? And without offering every single component of the marketing plan to do that, you're going to miss out. And part of that marketing plan is, in my opinion, is to still continue to offer compensation. So that's my 2 cents on that hot topic.
I appreciate your opinion. I think you're absolutely correct. You mentioned before about technology, about how important that is. Of course, we live in a world where it's important to everyone, and especially in real estate, there's been so many changes. What is one technological tool that you couldn't live without, that you think is very important to either your business or your customers, that is a must-have?
My iPhone. Not an Android. No, I am very fortunate to work with a brokerage. I'm with Compass, and it's going to sound like I've been drinking the Compass Kool-Aid, but they really do offer a one-stop shop technology platform that helps us as agents get time back and push out value added materials to both our buyers and our sellers. For example, I can go into my platform and I can create a start to finish marketing plan or assets for a new listing I have in probably about 7 minutes. And in those 7 minutes, I'll push out a flyer. I'll be able to do a nice embedded email to send out to all the agents who have sold a property in that neighborhood to let them know that, hey, if your buyer missed something, I've got something coming up. Everything from that to keeping the sellers informed of the entire process and just having it be like user friendly. So I think I couldn't live without that, and my phone. And professional photography. Please use professional photography.
Right. Thank you. Let's have all listings be professionally photographed, please.
My goodness.
Yeah. So no, that's great. And I think your point of having brokerage support that provides great technological tools is really important, and especially with everything changing in the industry, I think it's going to be hard for agents and brokerages to keep up who aren't embracing the latest technology. And so I think that's a great point for both agents and their customers. They need that. It's really vital right now.
And I think it's more than just a CRM, right? A CRM isn't going to do anything for me. I could go buy a CRM, but it's the ability to have the CRM, to have like a bomb type of platform integrated, a whole business tracker for my files, to be able to create a beautiful listing presentation or a CMA with a snap of a finger, and it look cohesively beautiful, but yet informative. I think all those things are important. There's so many other things I'm missing out, like leaving out, but it's all there.
That's a great list. It's a great list.
We have even a tool where we can look up an agent and their numbers. It's meant for us to be able to use our Compass network to connect them with maybe an agent in Boston or an agent in Chicago, and we can align them with an agent who services the market that they're trying to enter or go to. But I tell you, if I get a call from an agent who is being a little snippy with me, I'm going in my app and I'm looking you up real quick just to see what kind of business you're doing to be able to come at me with that
Right.
attitude. But
Yeah,
that's all
yeah,
part of the platform. Anyway,
that's great. Well, we probably have listeners who would love to ask you more questions, pick your brain and learn more. So how can listeners get in touch with you if they'd like to connect?
you can reach me on my Instagram is probably the easiest. I'm a millennial, so that's my front facing store. Linda Sells Orlando on Instagram. You can email me at Linda, Linda, the letter J at compass.com. My website is www.lindasellsorlando.com, but it is under construction right now. I'm switching platforms, so that might not be fully loaded yet.
All right. Well, that is amazing. And I am so thankful you joined us today. This is great. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and you have so
Yeah.
much experience and insight. And I'm sure everyone listening enjoyed it and got something big out of it as well. So thank you so much for your time.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Time flew.
Yes, it did. That goes fast, right? Everybody, Linda Jokbengboon, thank you so much for being part of a show today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, take care. As we conclude another eye-opening episode of Real Estate on the Up, I want to express my appreciation for joining us. Thank you for being a valuable part of the Real Estate on the Up community. Your time and engagement mean the world, so make sure you subscribe and leave a review. Your real estate goals are my priority, and my team and I are here to provide the personalized attention and service that have earned us high recognition. If you have questions, need guidance, or are ready to make a move, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm just a message away. I'm Kyle Madorin, one of Rate My Agent's top 100 in the United States, signing off. Until next time, take care and make those real estate dreams a reality.